All right, we'll call the April board meeting for the Southern Wayne Sanitary District to order. Go ahead and open up with a word of prayer. We'll bow our heads. Dear Lord, thank you so much for this day you've given us. Thank you for the beautiful weather. Thank you for letting us be able to come together tonight. Lord, as always, please guide our actions and the discussion. Let us take everything into consideration and do things that you would have us do. Lord, let us do what's right for the district and for our customers, and guide and direct our steps. Keep us safe as we're here tonight, as we depart and go about our ways and on about our week. You know, we pray. Amen. Stand for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I will note that board member Justin Williams is on the way. He is not here yet, but he will be joining us shortly. Before we go through the rest of the agenda, I want to turn it over to Harry to go through a swearing in of Mr. Danny Edwards, who was recently appointed to fill the open seat by the Wayne County Board of Commissioners as of last week.
Very good, Mr. Edwards. Good evening, and if you'll repeat after me. I, Danny Edwards,
I, Danny Edwards,
do solemnly and sincerely swear
do solemnly and sincerely swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to the state of North Carolina
that I will be faithful and follow allegiance to the state of North Carolina
and to the constitutional powers and authorities
and to the constitutional powers and authorities
which are or may be
which are or may be
established for the government thereof,
established for the government thereof,
and that I will endeavor to support,
and I will endeavor to support,
maintain, and defend the Constitution of said state.
maintain the Constitution of said state
Maintain and defend,
and defend the Constitution of said state,
not inconsistent with
not inconsistent with
the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the United States,
to the best of my knowledge and ability, so help me God.
to the best of my knowledge and ability, so help me God.
There you go, sworn in.
Thank you. And Harry, do we need to revote for positions on the board since we now have a full board, or does it remain status quo?
It remains status quo unless the board wants to make a change.
Okay. Is there any discussion or desire to make changes by the board?
No, sir.
I'm fine.
You're doing a great job.
As are you. Okay. All right. You have in front of you the minutes from the March meeting, if you will. You have not had an opportunity to take a moment to go through that. There's also included, as noted, about midway at the first page, an exhibit A, which is information from Scott regarding the construction report. And that information is attached for reference. Are there questions, comments, changes to the minutes from anyone?
Have we pulled any birth certificates to see that you are not related to Justin McLean?
No, I would encourage you to do so. Blood samples as well. Hearing no changes. Do I hear a motion that we accept the minutes as written?
I make a motion to accept the minutes as written.
We have a motion. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, just second by Danny. All in favor, let me be saying aye. Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Next on the agenda is recognition of visitors, which we do not have any. I will move right into the operations report. And speaking with Jonah and Jeremy. Jeremy was unable to be with us tonight, but he did let me know that everything is currently running smoothly. Everything's going well. Been in constant communication with the state. Make sure all the reports are updated. Everything is within compliance and looking very well from the well and distribution side of things. So I appreciate everybody's effort on that and keeping things running smoothly and getting things in order. It's very much appreciated. We do have two new guests with us. I say guests, not really guests any longer, members of the team. Mr. Daniel Blake and CC Stribble joined the team last Monday, and we appreciate and look forward to them coming on board and working with the team. I know it's been a busy, I guess, week already and a few days. So thank you for your coming aboard. They'll both be working with the field team, and CC will be helping a portion of the time here in the office as well, getting trained up on a few aspects here in the office. So is there anything either of you would like to say?
Everyone's good right now.
Okay.
How's it going?
So far, so good. Been busy, but moving right along.
How about you?
It's been going good. At first, I was kind of mind blown, but I've been settling in pretty good. A lot different than chasing a dog down.
Nothing's with you.
It's good. It's gotten better. It'll get better.
Now, he is going to be trained on office as well, correct?
Yes.
Okay, just want to make sure. that That's what we get office good.
All right. Well, thank y'all. Appreciate everything done or doing. Any questions regarding operations from anyone before we move on?
How are things in the office going?
Pretty good. We're still working on the time clock thing, trying to get all the kinks out of it. I got a meeting, if she don't cancel, I have a meeting scheduled for next week, next Tuesday.
Did Jordan get you that number? Or did that help at all, or?
I called in, they called me back about a week later, and then that's when we ended up adding, they ended up giving us a time off module, which they said was not included initially, which we had discussed and it was supposed to be. So they gave it to us for free, is what they said. So that's why we're meeting again Tuesday to get everything set up with that. So hopefully that'll iron out all the kinks.
If it does not, get me contact information, I'll take care of it. Everything y'all are settling in with your roles and assignments and everything going on.
Yeah, and as far as the bank, I sent them all the information they requested on our side, and I think they're waiting on everyone to go up, all the signers to go up and sign the paperwork.
They're waiting on you and Justin.
Okay.
Fine.
So y'all know that?
Yeah.
Okay. The lobby, is that still shut down? Is that
No.
still closed off?
We opened it April 1st.
Okay.
Any other questions from anyone? Okay. Move on to the finance report. Mr. Gainey.
All right, our gross profit was $140,333.93. Our total expense was $185,010.78, for a net income of negative $44,060. $676.85. So we lost a lot of money this month.
I think the main reason for that was capital outlay and due to the Ada Craig project being paid off. And or a portion of it, the majority of it being paid off, other than what's renewed. So that was the majority of that. That accounted actually for all that negative. How far are we from using Ada Craig to its?
But we have to do a final certification, and now that we have an operator here, I think we can probably move ahead with that, I think. I haven't talked to you about that, I know.
Yeah.
Part of the first couple lines of the report, certification says that we have an operator in place, and we have kind of had to hold on to that right now. But we do have the as-bills finished on that, we're just waiting to turn in the certification. Over this block.
That's something within the next month. It could be operational.
It should be. I know Jerry Pearson wants to come back out, maybe y'all. So once he offer that service to come out, once you do actually do the final, actually starting up and running.
Is there a license that physical chemical, is that something that is by law needed to operate? Or
Well, I know the permit, what you signed says a certified operator, which I mean, I think that would be you, but we may need, it refers to a section of the public water supply on that.
like for me and you talked, he would need to come back out.
Yeah, we're both standing
There's a
there.
lot of, there's a lot of in-depth going with that as far as what he needs to kind of, the different valves, floats in the tank, a lot to go over.
Yeah, he was testing and getting the pressures on and so forth, but he shut it, left it off, so you need to kind of do that again. We just want to make sure it worked the first time.
I think Jeremy's been in those conversations and attendance. I'd like him to continue to be just to get
Yeah.
to everybody's cross-trained on that. And Jeremy will continue to serve as our operator, as we noted in the last meeting, until Daniel is fully up to speed and comfortable with how our system operates. So I don't want us to wait, for us to sign Daniel over, since Jeremy's already there. And Daniel will be there to see how things function.
Is that something that's gonna have to be monitored on weekends, those weekend duty?
I'm sure it would. Sure it would come along. I mean, I don't know enough to know how it operates as far as it daily, weekly. I mean, it's gonna depend on the backwash as well. I mean, on average, Ada Craig, maybe 2 to 3 times a week backwash. It all depends on how many hours it runs. That's to when it needs backwash. So,
Any questions for Thomas on the finance report? Hearing none. Move on to the construction report.
We're still moving a bit slow on the US 117 water line project. PVC is still an issue on that project, but as you saw in a couple emails, I think I sent it to you, Matthew, and maybe to Dana last week about the delay, another delay on PVC 10-inch pipe, C900. What happens is when they get 6, 8, and 12-inch pipe are the most popular, and they want to run that pipe all the time on the machines, so they push back the 10-inch pipe as far as running it, but we're still on schedule right now. We're looking at getting June being the date of getting the pipe, so we got to push back another month from last time we had talked. So that's an issue there. As far as the directional bore, the crew that does the directional bore was on another job in Johnson County, and they ran into rock that they did not expect. So that project's moved slower. We're next in line on getting the directional bore in, so that's the delay there. As far as the double iron pipe is supposed to come in sometime within the next week. And that pipe is what's in the bore and jack that goes into 117. So that's an important part there. The next thing is just getting that subcontractor on the site, the sub to do those 2 bores. So one thing that did happen today, I got a call from ST Wooten, who is the contractor for the milling and paving project on 117, and I got them, and I called Ralph Hodge and told them and passed their information back and forth, and they're going to talk and coordinate whenever they do their work and although they did, Estes Woods said that they're supposed to be done by November of this year, so we won't be done by November this year with everything. So it's gonna take some coordination with all that.
Just you wouldn't have a start date when they want to start.
But they're gonna start on part of that project supposedly, in the next, couple, he said the 20th.
Of April.
That's the way I understood it, 20th of April, but, they're going from Duplin, way down to Duplin County back, this way and, milling and putting a pavement right back down, kind of works, so.
It's not for her to do, just to do road. And plant is what I told her.
Okay.
Yeah. So, the gentleman, Tim Alvarez gave me a call today and so I turned around and gave Ralph Hodge their information and Ralph Hodge offered, so you want me to call them and contact? I said, yeah, please do, on your end as well.
How far back this way does it go? Just to the fairground or beyond?
Well, I know at least goes to the fairgrounds. I'm not sure. I think it may go down to Genoa Road. I'm not positive. Going to the north, so.
Now with the piping, and I could be wrong, but the last meeting, I thought we had good news that it was coming, so now we've been pushed back
Yeah,
again.
exactly. That's been the story the last 6 months on PVC pipe in general. Everybody's getting pushed on that. They say it's the labor force that is the main thing, the labor force and just, they want to run that popular pipe that they're running on the machines and all that. So it's,
And did we or did we not say, is that going to interfere with the fair? Because that's gonna be a cluster.
well, it's gonna have to stop while the fair is, And Robert's gonna have to stop and pull off.
Fair dates were noted September 29th, October 8th, so it's gonna have to stop during that time and probably before. A little bit.
And even though we're not cutting the road, the road will be freshly paved and they'll be driving back and forth and there'll be a chance of messing up the asphalt. So that's really a concern with that. And the work at the end of the project is filling the pipes that are in the median. So they'll be out in the median near the end of the project. So.
So if asphalt gets messed up and has to be resurfaced or whatever, who pays for that?
Well,
We
if they
do?
mess up the contractor will be responsible for it. Ralph Hodge would be,
Right, but in return, we get billed for that?
well, Ralph Hodge would, their insurance, I guess, would cover it. They would be responsible financially for it if they mess up the asphalt.
Do we need to make that understood to them?
Yeah, they are concerned about it because they want to know, they don't want to be on top of new asphalt.
I don't want to pay for it.
Yeah,
If we need to get something in writing, let's do it.
yeah. We probably do, because when they get out in the meeting, they'll have to fulfill those pipes and somebody will see, like to have traffic control a lot of the median lanes to fill that pipe when they're at the end of the job, everything's got to be in place. So that may not be probably until perhaps the spring until you get to that part of it.
So is there something on our end that we need to do to get in writing? Because that's not, in my opinion, that's not our fault that we keep getting put off on the piping and stuff, and if they're,
We had a special meeting in November to like approve PVC, to approve purchase of.
Well, the C9, the thicker wall pipe, because that's what they're making. They're not making STR 21 at all right now, apparently.
Maybe we can just put together a sort of memorandum of understanding about and lay all that out, the expectations that, hey, there's gonna be this event, you understand there'll be fresh asphalt and, we're putting on notice that this is your responsibility. I can get with Scott to draw up something we can circulate.
Yeah, that's important to do, though. It really is. It needs to be.
because I don't
Yeah,
think,
that'll be the first-
we're basically stuck. From what I see, we're at the mercy of someone else, and if they're trying to be fast and doing the paving and all that, that's not our fault.
Yeah, we'll put something together and circulate it and make sure all parties are on notice. And as long as everyone's on notice in writing, then I think we've covered our angle.
They've got their laydown yard, which is that, if you turn down the alternate road on the left side, there's just past the mobile home park, they've got a laydown yard there that they've agreed on. I think it's a Hispanic family that owns some land in there.
Into my Legion Lake.
It just past Legion Lake, past the
Okay.
trailers that mow home there. That's all I have to report on that project at this time. We try to call them every week and find out what's the latest, and I mean, they're at the mercy of Diamond, National Plastics, and maybe all of the three J and JM, all the plastic companies. There is a company up in Greensboro that makes PVC pipe. So it's been a big challenge for everybody who uses PVC in construction. Anything else on that project? We basically talked mostly about Ada Craig. As you had mentioned earlier, there was a payment from King Plumbing. They've submitted a pay request for a little bit over $94,000. And we still have 5% retainage there. So most of that project is billed out. So there may be 10,000 more at the most left on billing for that. There's a little piece of a change order that's in there that they'll be adding because they added a vent and a drain pipe, and there's another little electrical line put in there. But it should not, I don't expect it to exceed the original contract price, because we didn't do all the contract items. We didn't need all the field dirt. We didn't need the survey that we thought we needed to post, and then the pre-development survey and the pre-construction survey was a little bit less than what we had in our allowance. So hopefully when it all washes out, we'll be right at about the contract or less. As we mentioned, we're waiting on we're waiting on the certified designation as a certified operator, so you can sign the form. Now I've got a form I've got to sign to send to Department of Work Supply. The as-bilt's already finished, so they're ready to go to them to get the approval letter to open up or start the system.
Yeah, we can do that this week.
Yeah, that would be good. So I'll leave this one with you, so you'll have it. Okay. And then I've got a one-page document as well that I've got to certify and stamp and then send them the as-bills.
So we're putting Jeremy's name down and we're getting that done right now.
This one.
Okay.
The next project is Grand Oaks, and as you know, they've paved the streets out there at Grand Oaks. And we did flow the fire hydrants, or Brandon Jones did with Thoroughfare, and they all were over 1,100 gallons per minute, which is really good. The rest of us in the county are envious of that. A lot of places on the eastern part of the county have 300 or 400 gallons per minute.
I vouch for that, yeah.
And we have, in Southern Wayne is a fire rated system, and it still is even with Grand Oaks. So they've held that through the years, and that is certainly something to be proud and happy about on that. I'm waiting on Jeffrey Carnegie, should any day now finish up the field work for as-built. So we'll have an as-built drawing that I'll send back to the state. This project, unlike Ada Craig, has already been approved, or it has been approved, but we're doing it in phases. So this is phase 2 that I have to certify phase 2 and send up to them for as-built, and then there'll be at least a phase 3, maybe a phase 4 that's part of the pre-approved plans. That's left on that. Let's see, Drake Village, I have no new news on Drake Estates. I haven't heard anything since we met last meeting. It's been,
That's one off of Ridge Drive.
yes,
I was watching the county commissioners meeting last week. It was in their consent agenda to approve the plans
okay,
for the subdivision for Drake Estates. So it was rolled up in that and approved.
okay. I assume Brian Jones is continuing with the engineering on the site there, the erosion control plan, the street design and so forth. So he should. I'd give him a proposal to do the water line. I hadn't heard anything back from that, so I'm not sure where they're heading on that part. But anyway, that's all I had on the engineering report.
Okay, what questions from, or for Scott on the engineering report? Hearing none. Thanks, Scott. Legal report, Harry?
And nothing too substantial this month. We were able to communicate with the Board of Commissioners and get Mr. Edwards approved and now sworn in. I still do need to take a look through the proposed policies and procedures, but need to sit down and make some more time to get you guys a draft copy to review and approve. And I should have that to you by next month.
Questions for Harry? Hearing none. Move into old business. I'll mention that the camera and security systems in the process of being installed. All the cameras in the office are operational as of today, and can be viewed on the TV in the office. And they've hung most of the cameras, if not all of them, in the plant area and on that side.
So I haven't been over since.
I haven't been over there either, but I know that they had to change the switch that they had ordered to a different switch, and they're waiting for that to come in. When it comes in, he said they finish up that side and those cameras will then come online. But these over here are ready. He said also whenever that switch comes in, they'll work on the security systems for the both buildings here as well. It's been moving along.
That's just the cameras that, is that the security too?
Security, he'll do that once he gets that switch in. When they bring that switch, he said they'd go ahead and work on the security. But they've just been working on the cameras so far. Any other old business? Okay. Hearing none, move to new business.
This can be considered old or new. We do need to make a budget amendment for bad debt. I figured up the bad debt for the year, and it's between 12 and 13,000. So we had budgeted for 10. So looking at the budget and where we are now, I think the best place to take it out of is building and grounds. And just transfer, just bump it to 15 is what I say to do. So it'll be $5,000 budget amendment from building and grounds to bad debt.
What is bad debt?
Bad debt is anyone that moves out or leaves us with a leftover balance. We're less than 1% on bad debt, so we do very well with that. The only reason that it's being a little bit over what we project is last year we ended up adding a $75 rigid contract fee. If someone doesn't pay by the 20th at 1 o'clock, and if they move out and leave and don't pay the last payment, and that $75 charge is added to their account, the deposit that we have on file that goes toward the balance owed doesn't take care of the full balance. So that's why our bad debt's a little bit more than it has been in the past, but it's still overall, less than 1%.
On a bad day, how much is, or what is the highest unpaid bill that you know off the top of your head?
Well, I mean, it totally varies. I mean, we've had one over $1,000 before. If they've had a leak and they leak.
So do we not do small claims for it, civil court?
No, we don't
Why?
have enough bad debt to do. I mean, less than 1%, we don't really, we just write it off.
Yeah, it could be collected in the Machinery Act too.
The what?
There's a Machinery Act that might apply. Was there any collections efforts before? I'm not sure. Okay. I'll look into whether the Machinery Act applies, which is sometimes a way that boards can collect on bad debt. Generally speaking, when you have bad debt that's under $1,000 or these smaller accounts, just in my regular practice, it's real tough to, you spend $126 to file a small claim, And that's if they're still in the county, and you'll spend more in court costs than you likely to get back.
And that's what I was saying, with less than 1%, we would probably spend more in trying to collect it. And a lot of times in this area, we'll have the same people move in and out different addresses in this district. And we always look them up, make sure they don't have bad debt, and we'll collect on that bad debt before we reopen a new account, a new address. So even though we write it off, you know, we have collected on amounts that we've written off in the past.
Okay, we've had people just not pay, and then they switch the name to someone else in the household. We have to go right back and cut it on. Is there anything we can do about that?
Well, we do try to prevent that. Well, they have to bring a rental agreement if they're renting, or some kind of document, and whoever's name that's in is who we have the account put in. So that kind of, because we have that happen a lot, where they try to get by on us, where we'll turn it off for non-payment, and it'll be in a daughter's name, and then the mother will come in and try to get it in her name. So we try to prevent that from happening by looking at the rental agreement and putting the account in whoever's name's on the rental agreement. So that's what we do to try to prevent that.
But as far as like, if we know a couple's not married, and they're living together, and they just switch it from the guy's name to the girl, I mean, can we deny service if we know?
Not if you've been provided with, I think, a rental agreement showing, you know, who the tenant is. I mean, it's the game we know that they're playing, but because they're providing a rental agreement,
Not if they're not providing a rental agreement.
if they're not providing a rental.
Yeah.
Don't we require it?
We require.
What if they
rental
own the
agreement.
home?
If they have to have their closing disclosure when they purchase the property, or we'll look it up on the tax, on the government website for the tax.
So Dana's asking for a budget amendment, basically moving $5,000 from 515 building and ground maintenance to 570 bad debts expense, to bring that up to $15,000. Do I hear a motion that we make that budget amendment?
Does that other cover our long care stuff?
There's in building and ground maintenance 515. We've only expended 36% of that budget, so there's still 38,000 remaining in that. Through June, building and ground maintenance. There's still 38,000 left. We'll be left with 35,316.73 to get through the rest of for June 30th. And that's why Dana suggested we take it out of there, because that's one of our buckets that is not expected to be fully utilized this fiscal year.
Let's do it.
Make a motion.
Make a motion.
All right, a motion from Thomas and a second from Danny to move $5,000 from 515 to 570. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Carries and unanimous. Other new business.
Go ahead.
Speaking to Jeremy, he's suggested that we make a rate increase for our water rates and our sewer rates. So I put in front of you our last rate increase to show you where we're at now. And then I've also included what he's suggested, which is a 10% rate increase on water sales for residential, inside the district, outside the district, agricultural, and the sewer rates at 10%. He suggested for commercial, institutional, for 15% increase. So I figured all those, and I have that new printout there showing. And the second page of that shows you a dollar amount increase. shows the old rate and the new rate and the dollar amount increase.
What does industrial include? Is that just farmers?
Well, your farmers are gonna be the agricultural rate. We only have one or two accounts that is industrial, and it's, the Progress Energy.
Duke Energy, yeah, the Progress.
Yeah. I can't think of. The other
With the
one.
chicken plant down here, Ken, would that be, that'd be commercial, right?
What?
I can't think of
Case
it.
Farms,
Case
the
Farm.
hatchery.
Is that Marshall? Industrial?
Well, I believe that that's under. I believe that one's under agricultural. I have to go double
Well, not
check.
the old Cooper Standard. Can't think what it is now. It's off Woodland.
Oh, that was sick.
Is it?
Yeah. 'cause
I
I'm-
think that-
that
I think
doesn't
it
sound
is
familiar to me.
It's on the other side.
How long would it take you to tell us exactly what we're looking at as far as who's industrial, who's commercial?
Okay, so. As far as like each one individually, is that
customer.
what you're asking?
Yeah, how many do we have in each category? And how much does Duke Energy spend a month?
I can go pull it for you.
So you, hold on one second then. So you want to know everyone that's under agricultural, commercial, institutional and industrial?
Yeah, it's not that many, is it?
No, it's not.
I mean, we may can consolidate some of these, make it easier. I don't know what constitutes institutional over industrial, over commercial.
Essentially our sewer, they get, we get your job when their sewer goes into theirs. So we basically wash it a little bit to be able to maintain what we have.
Send that to you.
So this is telling us what they're paying right now.
This is, yes.
I don't have a copy for everybody, but each one is labeled. And then on the very back, I got a breakdown of who's what.
The Burger King,
The residential is on there.
Past it, given survey to be yours to put in.
That would be the total. That's a
Oh.
on the report, but I just grabbed one. Because that changes everything.
So we have 3 agricultural accounts, 45 commercial accounts, 5 industrial accounts, 25 institutional accounts, and 2,662 residential accounts.
so so the industrial is showing 5.
You should have that list on that last page on there. You know, that are,
Which Matthew, I think that one I gave you was from January 21, so it could adjust a little bit from then.
Yeah.
It's just the first one I could get my hands on.
Then all these Rs are residential.
Yeah.
Where's Duke Energy?
look at the last page. What are they classified as?
Right now, Duke Energy.
They're not.
Duke's not written on there, on that last page.
Progress Energy. Seafood Group.
You got security mini stores, Burger King, Speedway, Shortstop, McDonald's, Case Farms, Fairgrounds, Durham Lake Sewer, Backwash. I don't see.
This says there's only one agriculture and one industrial.
see it. Hey, listen. I can pull it up right now and tell you what it's listed at on the account.
See what they are, and, well, can you tell us who these are for ag, commercial, industrial, and institutional?
Yeah.
And then
Well,
what,
I mean, he
How
has,
many
he
ag
has
is
a
that?
list that breaks them down on the back.
It doesn't say who's who,
Yeah, it does.
though. It says who's agriculture.
Fairgrounds.
Agricultural, industrial, commercial.
I'm showing there's 3 ag, 45
Let me get-
commercial,
Let me get you a more current report.
Okay. and just tell us what, yeah. Run that. and we'll see. This might be-
Don't donate the water during the week of the fair.
Yes.
And then their agricultural use after that.
These are all the service sewer accounts. That's what this is.
That's what that was. That was on height. I'm all for just making this really simple and just make 3 accounts, either it's agriculture, residential, a business. It's pretty simple.
So if Proverbs entered, if they're not up there, does that mean that they're not paid?
Well, I think what he just said was that was sewer.
That's just sewer.
This,
Those are our sewer customers.
Well, we don't want that.
That's what she's getting.
If you're going 3 agricultural. District, I say, heck, I have 3 taps on my phone.
you may be getting overcharged.
Yeah.
Residential.
There's 3 taps on my phone, 1 tap on my phone.
If y'all, wanna go ahead and go, there's no need for you to stay,
You're welcome.
You're welcome
Yeah.
to stay,
It's
obviously, but
if you're ready to go.
it's up.
Don't feel obligated.
This is all new to me.
Yeah.
I've been in water 15 years. I've never been in a board meeting. It's kind of cool.
And they found us over there for.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
If you don't go today, you couldn't go.
We used to have some really exciting ones.
One of those things. I know it's off subject, y'all, but like you and I were talking about the service calls. Is that something y'all want to roll over amongst yourselves? Like you were asking.
Go ahead and bring it up.
Like,
Yeah.
Right, I mean, like as far as I go out to a service call at 8:30 at night, Matthew was asking me, and Dana, like, do the customers get charged for us going out to cut their water off? Honestly, I told him, I said, I don't know. She says, no, we don't. So is that something that, do you think, y'all, we as
So
a
for,
company should be
for
reimbursed?
example, Jonah last night, early this morning, had to go, I think it was today, or was it yesterday? I think it was,
I lost track.
I don't
think it was
know.
Last night.
yeah, I think it was. Had to go cut off a customer's water, because the faucet was broken, but the water was going into the sink. But, you know, I told Jonah, I was like, well, can't they cut the water off under the sink? And, you know, some people may not know how, or may not know what to do. So is there, obviously, when they don't want to waste the water, even though it's not damaging anything, it's just going in the sink, but do we?
If he's getting
What-
up and driving and the gas and everything, I would say absolutely.
company-
He called us because the plumber was gonna charge it. Well, I'm not going to.
That could be a lot of it too, yes, that's.
It needs to be.
I was interested to hear what other districts do, but yeah, I
There used to
mean, I
be-
feel like in that instance.
There used to be, probably about 10 to 12 years ago, Wayne Water had it where there was a service fee for non-emergency situations. If you had a situation like that or something along those lines broke, but if you had a major catastrophe, then no, they're not gonna charge you.
Yeah.
But if you call it after hours to send somebody out that they deem as a non-emergency thing, then there would be, I think at that time, it was like a $50 service fee added to their next bill. for us to go
They
out
don't
there
do
and
that
address
any
the
longer
situation.
though.
I think when they changed, the management, when it was Eddie Coltrane, I think who founded it, and then when he retired and the new guy came in, he wanted to step away from it for whatever reason. And then they just, as far as I know, they never went back to address it or anything like that. But it has happened.
If we are paying him to come out, plus gas and the way gas is, I absolutely think we need to charge service.
For
fee.
non-
You gotta think about insurance as well. I mean, you're paying insurance on the vehicles don't drive, you know, that we're driving. So I mean, it's also, you know, it's sort of a down the line cost.
I think I could see it if, when you talk to them on the phone, you say, where's it leaking? They say, faucet's broken. Okay, is anything being damaged?
That's what I was
No.
saying earlier, yeah.
Can you turn it off under the sink yourself? No. Well, or do you know how to turn on up under the sink? Oh, I didn't think about that when we did that. Okay, it's good. Or no, I don't know how. We can come out, but it'll be a service fee because this is a non-emergency situation.
Right.
Is that fair, Harry?
I would just tell them right out the gate, if you can cut it off at your house, you know,
Right.
so if not, I'll come out, but it'll be, $50 or whatever.
I'd say over half the houses you go to, residents rather, they're gonna have a customer cutoff between the meter and their house. And 9 times out of 10, they don't know about it. Some places even have a cutoff right at the house, you know,
Usually under a sink, you don't have a cutoff.
well, yeah, commode,
Yeah.
sink, faucet in the house.
Typically, right below the hot water heater, they have an emergency, should have an emergency cutoff.
Right.
We're gonna have to pay Jonas, so we don't need to just pay it. I mean, we need to be reimbursed for that.
Yeah.
I don't wanna ring anybody on the call.
Right.
I don't wanna bleed out either.
But if it's an emergency, something being damaged, or there's a service line that's leaking
Right.
and, you know, gallons and gallons of water gushing.
Oh, I understand. It just, you know,
I think it's gonna kind of be on the, whoever's on call and responding to make that determination, is this emergency or not? We
Right.
Handle that. And I can notify the office staff whether they should be doing, if that's what we.
just figured I'd bring it up to y'all's attention. I was sitting here kind of thinking
I
about
think
that.
that needs to be communicated to the customers as well, that
Oh, yeah,
that's
definitely.
being implemented.
Well,
Yeah, I
and
agree.
if we do that, then if we
Something
discuss the height, the rate height, we can add that in there too. so
Send that out
everybody
with a
knows.
bill or something, yeah. That way it's public knowledge. Post it on the drive-through window as well.
Mhm.
I personally don't see where it much matters whether it's an emergency or not. I mean.
You're still going out, burning
you're
gas,
going out, you're going-
paying him or whoever to go out. I
But what-
agree.
I mean,
But
if
what
it's
we-
our side, that's different.
But what are we gonna do if it's a service line? I mean,
If it's our side, it's.
but the service line's not ours. But
Yeah,
we're
we're
gonna
gonna
do
expect-
No, that's
hundreds
fair.
of gallons of water gushing out.
We're not expecting the customer, I mean, that's not the customer's fault.
This is the latest one that shows the correct amount. of
If the
cans.
service line is,
And
that's their
I looked
fault.
up, I have to run a report on each
Yeah,
one.
but I think it's in our best
It'll take a
interest to
little
cut that
while,
off.
But I looked up a couple ones you were
And
asking.
it's up to them to get
These
it.
two are agricultural, Williams, he has another one on Stevens Mill that's agricultural, so there's 2 for him, 1 for Linwood Williams. Agricultural. Progress is industrial.
So Progress is industrial. Are they the only ones that are industrial?
That's what I'm saying. I mean, you want anybody who goes out, is charging us pay for service. If we charge them $50.
Like I said, I mean, I have to
Keep
run
it almost
reports on each one.
Yeah.
It'll take a little while.
After hours. But during the day, we're not,
Keep on your way.
right?
I mean, yeah, I know, if he's on the clock, he's in the district.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't see no need of, it's a little different than a plumber because, I mean, he is actually, you know,
If you have a
After
specific
hours.
one.
After hours, that's after
hours.
Yeah.
holiday. Well, it's just like when you're running the husband, there's a set rate for when you're at work, and there's another rate when I call you at midnight, and say, Danny, I'm on 117, I need help. There's a different rate.
Well, it's no different than charging, when I first got here and y'all talking about the lady that had the trees that was messing up,
For sure.
and y'all were charging her because it's her property in the trees, so it's no different than that.
I 100% agree.
Um,
That's why I say, man, I don't really see why you have to distinguish whether it's an emergency or not. We have to come out after hours to cut your water off for something that's going on your property. It should be just a flat rate for that. I don't really see-
I concur.
So that's an expense on the district.
I think we need to get rid of some, I mean, we've got industrial, institutional.
Well, before we go back to that, that was, keep that in mind, is there any further discussion on that, what John brought up? I don't want to jump around too much.
Oh, yeah, I think we need to be reimbursed.
I make a motion that anytime we are called out after hours for any type of service call, that we charge a $50 service fee.
Effective when?
If we do the rate increase,
No.
well,
Yeah, yeah.
because we gotta let the
Yeah,
public
people
know.
know.
So we're gonna, if we do the increase,
July
the,
1, it would go into.
effective July 1.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor from Jessica to institute a $50 service charge when we're called out to turn off water during after hours, effective July 1st, 2022. Any further discussion?
I'll second that.
Is that regardless of, that's just turning it off
Regardless.
flat?
If we have to leave the house to go do that, $50 out the gate.
Okay. Second, Justin? Second by Justin. All in favor, let it be known by saying aye. Aye. It's unanimous.
But it is something.
Yes,
Women up there stay cold, man.
What'd you say?
The women up there stay cold. It's cold.
All right.
Here's the consumption in the last year, and that's the bill. Not column. That's just for the last year.
Y'all do have an agreement on file with the Simple Cycle Road usage, water usage. There is one that's recorded that Jack recorded. I can't remember what the volume of water was, but there is, you may want to be aware of that since your guys are new on the board.
It's with who?
How long is that good for?
I guess until you
I would have to review
you
the
already voted
agreement.
out or something if you wanted to, but it's gonna be an agreement.
You have to review the agreement.
I know it's about a year ago,
Who is it with?
Duke Energy. So
so $1 billion company is paying almost the same thing as I'm paying a month for water. How's that?
Scott, thanks for bringing that up. I'll pull the agreement and send it to you and see what we've got recorded before we
Yeah.
jump off the deep end.
That's ridiculous.
What is it?
They're paying, they get better, they're $1 billion company. And they're only paying that
They're not
much.
even falling under this industrial.
No, they've got a completely
separate
separate
system, I guess, or whatever.
And who made this contract?
Gary, Sally, Scotty.
This consumption, is there true consumption or what's under the contract?
That's our true consumption.
Because they're not really consuming a lot.
I can't remember if you were on the board or not, Matt, but this was a huge argument between me and everyone else about Duke Energy having the amount of money they do. And supposedly they were going to use a lot of equipment. So they got a break that everybody else didn't get. So we actually went down on their rate and raised it on the consumers. So that's been an ongoing battle.
That's a joke.
My bill's $500 to $700 a month.
They're my it's like they're paying the residential. That's what that total comes out to.
Is that CFA as well, or just progress centers?
Progress Energy. We'll have to review that. agreement.
How that should be in the contract.
Cause I remember it was really complicated tiers as far as what they had.
Huh?
Like it was broken up in tiers. There wasn't a, you pay this for 10,000. It's broken up. The more you do, the cheaper it is.
And how long was this contract for?
I don't know that had any kind of time limit. Well, maybe it's for the 15 years they're gonna be here with that plant. The plant's only supposed to be here 15 to 20 years.
Yeah.
Seems like a simple cycle there. Plant,
There's some- we
I
have-
hear-
don't you remember it had a life span of 15 years or something like that? That plant.
My hot house.
Wow.
My turkey farm, when they changed to chlorine, with water, we had to come off our well with the chlorine. Plus the particles in our well up and it screwed my hot house, or my turkey house. My bill ranges anywhere from 7. But, you know, except I don't have.
Across the board, for all your property.
That's just your turkey. Then age, turkeys.
That's a very low consumption for them. Do they have another water source?
Seems like they draw it off their, was it the ponds or something else back there? They get some of their water for that.
They remember something that they have another source.
They didn't, and then they were able to get a well working.
I think ours is the plan B, the one
Right.
that is the plan B. So in case they didn't have that water, they could pull off of this
I mean,
somewhere.
yeah, they only use 3,200 gallons in February. Reading that right.
So how do we know that that is truthful and accurate?
We don't.
So what do we do to get a truthful and accurate reading?
I know there's a meter out there. There is a meter.
And the meters, the meter working.
6-inch meter. Yeah.
Is it?
What
So
meter?
we had 2 meters, one going to just the Colac pond, just one going.
Yeah, one going to Seafood, one going to Carter's, or do whatever it is.
So which one is that? Is that one going to see?
This is listed as progress.
That's progress.
Can you pull the sequence?
That's a joke.
3,200 gallons is basically just restroom use.
Yeah, I use.
It's about 4,000 gallons a month. I mean, it's not a lot.
And the agreement that was only gonna be that primarily.
Yeah.
And I think the community needs to see this, and I think the community needs to know this. Because that is ridiculous. That's just my opinion, but that's ridiculous. That makes no sense.
You be able to tell when he finds that contract, so that you can see what's in the contract. and who they don't know. So you read it.
Should be a copy here somewhere in the file cabinet.
Yeah, there should be.
Can you go look?
I don't know where to look.
I'm curious, because that
And so,
burns my jaws. I mean, how do you even justify that?
get some money. in your pocket.
No, not going there.
How do you think that goes about?
That's ridiculous. That's why the rich keep getting richer.
$6. gallons of long way.
What do y'all think about just a farm rate?
Long rate or we said ag, fire department. Put them in
Yes,
basically the same.
agriculture, fire department, rotate farms in there.
Yeah,
They were farming ag.
if you let it fall in ag. Then you have your residential. Commercial. I don't know what institutional stands for. Do you have any like,
I don't know. There's too many of them to keep up with.
I mean,
Let me see that picture.
what do we call them institutional? Is that a church house? That's considered. institutional.
What is?
He's saying,
Burger King, McDonald's.
I just throw that under.
There's
commercial.
a road on there. You know, there's a couple of clients. Well, actually, they were going to. Super Bowl. I would definitely do agriculture.
There's it
I mean, I
says
can see. I can see that.
institution shows 25.
Why not do ag, business, residential?
And,
And industrial, that doesn't even add up. This, to me, in these little charges, and it's showing $9,883. Account total, $748. So how are we getting 9,000? So am I crazy or these aren't adding up? What, you're not understanding what I'm saying?
That and the number of factors on
Does that make sense to y'all? Industrial, 9,000. How is it that that total is that and they're only paying 700 for that? I'm not understanding. And I might not be right, reading something right, but I'm not understanding that. Could there not be charges?
Like, really?
Yeah.
Who you gonna charge? I'm just paying like 3 to 4 people in place. They got all the industries, all 5 of them listed in there. Build in there, under one thing. It's not just one.
Yeah, I know that, but still, I mean, that,
COs would be.
commercial,
Commercial. 40. Institutions, 25.
so you're telling me, what was it, 9,800, what?
$9,883.
Minus $748. So the other 4 people are paying $9,135, where this $1 billion company is only paying $748. I mean, do we see a problem here, people, or is it just me?
Get that contract, we get contracts.
What was the name of that contract again, Scott? What was the name that you referred to?
It's a simple cycle road. Maybe, maybe say HF Lee in there or something like that. Yes, they're just free to simple cycle road.
This is our agreement.
Is that agreement apply to
Provide
Seco
water.
Energy?
I haven't looked at it.
Yeah, I'm not sure. where 6 one comes from.
SEPA.
Coal ash.
Yes, yes. I think they subcontract possibly some progress in their mess.
Yeah.
I'm just. I think that's what it is.
Yeah, I'm not very.
But it's still, that 11,000 to the 9,000.
It's not enough for your personal water.
No, I'm saying, you're saying you're paying about 9,000 or something. So how's that?
I don't know if they're all- Is that one institutional, is it industrial, or commercial? It's like with myself. I do.
How much is, how many gallons is that one? Is that, that SEPA one?
That's the secret. That's what you just gave, this is the secret.
And the seat was industrial, when I looked it up,
See if it's what is that energy?
industrial.
And how many, there's 5 industrial?
Handed it to you. I don't have it in
Yeah, we
front
got 5 industrial. So who are those 3?
So I mean, this is based on 6 million, about 6 million gallons.
So 328. 15.9 was the consumption.
I guess at the industrial rate, that's what you're saying. This was just in this folder. I don't know. Haven't seen any consumption of almost 6 million gallons in there.
You want to guess how many people we have in the district? 2764. 2,764.
Connections. See, they were apparently charged like July to June, so it's been fiscal year 17-18. Around $80,000 on average.
A month?
80,000. That's on this printout. I don't know what this printout's from.
You said they're getting charged 80,000?
17-18.
It's about gallons of water.
Dollars.
What?
Yeah, July 86,000, August 92,000, September 82,000. So how did we go from almost 100,000?
We need the meter is broken. That's what I'm saying.
Well, they got another source. We wouldn't have dropped, I don't think the need would drop that much. It's either that other source or it's, I don't know.
And when did this contract take place?
summer before last, I believe, is when they were putting it in.
Here's your
I
card,
guess,
industrial.
So 20,
It was during the COVID, it was about,
so
2020,
the start,
somewhere during there, when they're installing it during
Case
summer.
Farms, so that's on Mitchell, Robertson and Reader. Wouldn't that be the Asher?
We go to Mitchell? We go to the Case Farms on Mitchell?
Yeah, that's the big plant, but is that?
So we don't
That's
talk
the
about,
one sanitary.
Southeast.
yeah, that's.
Southeast
What's, all right, so we got Case Farms, and then we got Case Farms Breeder.
The hatchery is right here on Sand Hill.
Yeah,
That's
or
the fire.
hatchery it is. That's Breeder, so what's the other?
You want addresses?
You can just bring the computer in here.
Because that's, I mean, that's the one. Next one, I'm aware of.
Midday,
That's the landfill.
Wrestling.
So the two Case Farms can go to agriculture, Duke Energy can go to residential, if they don't need a break, and then
yeah,
what,
why don't they need a break?
Duke Energy? Does anybody slip in here and give you some money or something? Why are we giving them a break?
nobody, y'all are on different pages. Thomas doesn't think they need them.
What are you saying? You think they do need a break?
No, they do not.
Okay, then we're on the same page. Why are you arguing?
You said you're gonna put them on residential.
They don't need to pay less than what residential pay.
Can we just pick and choose who goes where?
We need to,
You need to establish some ground.
Yeah, I think-
What makes you what?
You have, yeah, you have to be, who is this and why are they that, and this is the rate for all of them.
And I would say it'd be based on how much water consumption you use. I mean, there's gotta be some type of guideline for being commercial.
I mean, it's pretty.
If you use this much water,
I think we need to pull our guidelines, whatever we're basing this off of now. Take a look at that, and then if we're gonna go ahead and change it, we probably need to provide a notice and maybe even hearing, invite people to come and provide some input before we go ahead and do it.
I don't want people from Duke Energy knowing who I am. Men in black show up when they.
Yes, yeah, we'll find you Cole Ash.
Yeah.
But something tells me that if it's changed in their favor, I'm sure it's sealed up in a way that we can't just vote on it right now. We probably need to just pull everything and see what we've got here. before we-
So agriculture, there's only 4 people in agriculture. 2 are you.
They're right on Sand Hill, they got 2 meters. One's at 255 and one's at 259.
Okay, so it's the same thing.
Yeah.
I feel like for agriculture, if you use water in the production of food, you're farming. And we can throw the landfill in there, so if you're in the production of food or disposal of food, you're farming. So that gives a break on the landfill.
Well, that would classify as.
Industrial, so there's 5 people that are industrial, is 2 of them are Case Farms, 2 of them are Duke and landfill. We got this special category for 5 businesses, but it's really only 3. And I give Case Farms a break, don't give it to Duke, and give the landfill a break. But we don't need an industrial category, and then we've got an agriculture category.
what is institutional behind it?
It's like churches and
And make all churches, okay, so what's the difference in institutional and commercial?
well, institutional is gonna be,
Let me check it.
I mean, that's just the way that category. I mean, that had them categorized.
Commercial and institutional account for 69 accounts. So I don't know who they are, but just give them a break as being a business. So whether it's a church or McDonald's, give them the same break, so agriculture, business, residential.
But I think business and commercial, they fall up in my opinion, two totally different price categories.
How many categories you want?
I didn't ask about the number of categories. What I'm saying is, business and commercial fall within two different categories as far as the amount of money that your profit. Am I right or wrong? Are you commercial or are you business?
I have one.
It's not what I'm asking. Would you consider yourself commercial or business?
Business.
Thank you. Would you consider a multi-million dollar company commercial or business?
I don't know, because I don't know what the criteria is for this stuff, but it's Mickey Mouse on these papers.
I think that we need to, my suggestion is to do more research to figure out what has been set in place. We need to get our hands on the contract.
I think this might be the contract and all. It's for Duke Energy Progress. It was signed on July 10th of 2020. And it says that we'll provide them, water, how much water in gallons per minute. And it says that well, SWSD shall charge DEP for the water furnished by the district in accord with its tiered rates established for industrial customers as may be amended from time to time. All charges, rules, and regulations applicable under this agreement shall be consistent with those applicable to all industrial customers of SWSD. All water used and charges will be determined from the SWSD meter.
We can change it anytime.
Well, we definitely have a problem.
Let's just check, there's reference to a recorded agreement somewhere. Let's just make sure that's the same thing. There's no outliers there.
Yeah.
There's something
It's
about.
got a
they
sign and the
use
notary,
much
but-
Water we can find. We had to put, didn't we spend a lot of money to put piping in place that they could use X amount of gallons if need be?
Yeah, there's a certain threshold that they have to get permission if they go over certain gallons per minute, because it can tax the residential use of it if they draw too much water.
We said we provide them with a maximum of 60 gallons per minute over a 24-hour day under normal operating conditions. And under our discretion, we may determine we have sufficient supply and elect to provide more than 60 gallons per minute for longer than 48 hours consecutively. And then there's situation, there's there's options to provide it in other situations.
I think we spent a lot of money to be able to do that, but we won't get back in our lifetime at these rates. But we were under the assumption that they were going to use a lot more water than they are.
And they went from paying 80 to 90,000.
I don't know if that's the same group, but yeah, whatever group that was.
Structure. That was back in 17, is when you had those.
Yeah.
That was back in 17.
That was the night,
Pre,
17 and 18
yeah.
and 19 one.
17.
17, 18. Well, I think we need to do our research. And figure out what we've got going on here. And we need to do it fairly, and we need to do it quickly before we try to raise rates in July, if that's what we're gonna do.
Agreed.
I'll take a look at the contract tomorrow, see if there's anything else that's recorded and just get a firm feeling of what we got.
Can we get a print off of month-to-month bills of what they've been paying?
Here's progress signatures and you've got to see. For the past year.
It's not.
Trying to tell her.
I'm told, this is what this is, and that should be a total.
Right.
Uh-huh. I've calculated it 2 times and got 4,714, and that's got 6,476. I'm not gonna spend all night. Y'all might, we need to call another meeting and discuss this and what we've got going on, because obviously it ain't right and it needs to be fixed.
That's another bill. That's a bill,
It says total bill.
yeah, from here. If you added that 28, you gotta add that 6476 to your 4,000, and you're gonna get 11,000.
That's not billed a month of the bill.
That's 1 month.
Well, then you
Here's
tell
that
me,
consumption.
you tell me where that 6,000 is then with these dates in that bill. It does not have a specific date for that bill. That right there is,
The dates are above the bill.
so
So
that one is for
it goes
27.
date, water service total bill, so date, water service total bill, that's for, the month of April last year. They used a lot more water. Yeah.
So how do we go from $160 to bring that? That don't make, how does that jump? That doesn't make sense to me. I vote that we come up with another special meeting to figure this stuff out, because obviously something's not right, in my opinion. Y'all might have a difference of opinion, but I'm not gonna sit here till 10, 12 o'clock at night trying to figure what hoodoo this stuff is.
I said we also talk about categories, so at this meeting, let's do categories. This, you need to like,
Kind of thing with Harry again earlier, he defined what these categories, is there a book around here that has what these categories are based on? If we want to change it, we didn't know what we're changing from into, because I mean, while some of these words would say, well, do you consider yourself commercial or not? What's the true definition of commercial, and are you or not? You know, keep it in grant. But I mean, you know what I'm saying, you can't just, we want to call it this. No, you gotta have some backing behind what you're saying. So I'm definitely for simplifying. There's no need of that in this many different groups.
can y'all try and figure out what, if we have any paperwork that defines.
I'll see what
it
the
is?
criteria is and I'll see if I can find something on.
Is that something that's written down somewhere?
It should be.
I think it is, but I'm not 100%.
Why can we do that? Trying to do it.
We must want to set a special meeting to discuss board rates.
Agreed.
What other questions do
What
we
we might.
them to look into, them being Harry and Danny?
I guess the main thing would be Harry maybe really looking into this, to do contracts, which she's already said. You just really know what we're trying to change, and we can technically change and not end up biting ourselves.
What do we need to know on the sewer side?
Sewer side in reference to,
We go for went up 20%, but Jeremy said we only need to go up 10. So if we're being charged 20, how are we only going up 10?
We can confirm that the county, if the city going up 20 affects us or not.
Yeah, because usually I receive a letter from the county showing that they're gonna be raising the
Article I
rates.
saw was the city.
And I haven't
Westboro
received
voted on that.
anything. They increased twice last year, and we usually receive a letter in the mail like at least 2 months prior to the actual, before it goes in effect. No,
I
haven't
guess to
received
add to
anything.
our special meeting, if we want to discuss with sewer rates also. you know, there's not maybe a whole lot to that, so. Or extra, where do we need to
We need to
be at?
discuss our categories for water consumption and rates. We need to discuss water rates, and we need to discuss sewer rates.
And I want Jeremy at that meeting.
Cause I'll tell you this, I don't know if it matters, but when we looked, last year or in 2020 at raising rates, the board chose to add the $75 breach of contract fee instead of raising the actual water rates. Just so it wouldn't penalize everybody, the good paying customers, so we could, gain revenue on the delinquent customers and not affect the ones that.
When were
pay on
rates
time.
last raised?
It was 2019 when they were last raised, the actual water rates. But in 2020, the $75 breach of contract fee was added and voted for instead of raising rates.
So this one that says has effective of July 2021, last rate increase. We're on the top of it.
Because the only thing that changed last year was the sewer. All the water rates were the same. So the sewer went from, it was $13.75 to $15 per thousand.
I was just
That was the
assuming
only,
meant-
that was the only thing that changed. The actual water rates hadn't changed since 2019.
Yeah, there's discussion on rate increase. Y'all know your availability and want to set that meeting now. I know for myself, that would be at least 2 weeks before I can do it.
About that, I want to get the information. I can go whenever.
No, that's me before my birthday.
And we want to do it probably before our next board meeting,
Yeah, for sure.
which will be May 10th.
If we change the rates, that'll be in the next budget year.
Correct. Effective July 1.
I could probably be here, but I can't tell you, I'll be here 6 o'clock.
So if the options are the week of the 25th of April or the week of May 2nd.
We need to find out when Jeremy.
We'll make that and make sure we call it for special meeting guidelines. I'll reach out to Jeremy. I'll have Dana coordinate with the rest of the board members. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday night. Okay. Other new business?
Well, the operating budget, proposed operation budget for, next year was also, it had included that rate increase, but, all the other figures would stay the same.
So the,
And I've included last year's operating budget to compare. There wasn't many changes. If you want to review it and ask me any questions, or either I can go over the line items that are changed, whichever you prefer.
so it looks like the water, and I talked to Dana about some, it looks like, so the water sales includes an increase of roughly 10%, it's a little bit less of what comes through, but And it assumes that, and the sewer also assumes a 10% increase. So those sales, those revenues at the top, obviously that is dependent upon what we actually do with the rates.
Right.
I have one question. The one that, the bad debt, do you think we need to go ahead and increase that now more than 15? Since we're gonna be at 15 this year?
Well, for the last 2 years, we've been at 15. I mean, that's why I moved it to 15 now, but I mean, it probably wouldn't hurt. It really
Did you say it was
wouldn't.
gonna be 12 or 13?
Yeah,
this
it's
year?
gonna be between 12 and 13, so I've given a couple $1,000 leeway, but that's
So
up to
just
y'all.
leave it at the 15. You think?
Based on the last 2 years, I would say so. And I don't know why it wasn't changed this year since we had to do amendment last year.
So, Harry, for the budget, the protocol there is it to announce that we'll set public comment on the budget at a future meeting, or do we do that? What's that process?
You'd set excuse me, another, just an open meeting, budget workshop meeting. And people are invited to discuss it at that time and review it. And then once that budget is laid out, then you would add it and adopt it at another meeting.
Can we have that during our May meeting and then adopt it in June?
Yes.
Okay. Any questions for Dan on any of the line items?
And under equipment maintenance, we did move 50,000 from there to contracted services. And the reason for that, for some reason, Southern Corrosion, they're a contracted service with us. They take care of our tanks. And for some reason, that's been taken out all year long, not out of contracted services. It's been taken out of equipment maintenance. So I discussed it with Matthew today on changing that. So that way it would start coming out of contracted services where we both believe that it should come from.
Now, with the removal of that one chemical, our chemical supplies cost go down.
Potassium magnate.
Yeah, that American increased the chemical costing and the fuel surcharge, so we went up to, we figured that in for the increase.
And the reason of keeping that the same, understanding, talking to Jeremy, is that we don't know what the timeline of that's gonna be, so it's better to go ahead and just assume status quo. And if we don't spend it, then we'll adjust in the next budgets.
Yeah, it's also, you may have to use more of a different chemical to make up for the chemical you're taking out. To get it balanced.
And our bank charges, is that the BB&T, so we might not approve that when we switch.
Yeah, that's what the BB&T bank charges.
So we might come out on good on that.
And if you look at the current year, I mean, some of these, I mean, we're not spending as much,
That would be.
which is good. And it shows we're fiscally responsible, things are budgeted well, and there's some of them that are gonna come under. Most of them, to some degree.
And we could make money with the bank too, didn't he say?
It will generate some kind of interest. On
Yeah, if they're
some of the
going
accounts.
into like a money market, it will generate more interest.
we'll have to,
As far as the fees, did he not say that it'd be kind of a washout with the interest? So we may make money, but, I mean, he is gonna charge fees too, so it may just be a washout, right?
It's not the same fees. And I can't speak for him, but when he explained it, it's not great, but the fees, the money made washes out any fees, whereas right now we're paying.
Well, we left that there, just being so sad.
maybe something to discuss with Dana is how we track that. Money made, do we track that somewhere under revenue or?
They'll send it with their money statement.
Yeah, I mean,
We need to show
where
it.
where we capture that.
Now with the work truck fuel, with the gas prices being so much different than it was last year, we're still gonna do 12,000.
Yeah, because where we are, if we look at our budget to actual for this year, we still got a long ways to go to meet what we had projected. So there's enough cushion there for the increase to keep it the same.
There's still $6,600, so a little over 50% of that line item
For 2
is
months
still
to go.
remaining. 3 months.
Yeah,
technically,
right.
for this.
Your bad debt expense you were referring to earlier, if somebody pays eventually in whatever fashion, how does that get accounted for?
It goes back into the debt, bad debt line item, so it just kind of comes off the bottom figure.
Any other questions at the moment for Dana regarding the proposed budget? Again, this isn't something we'll vote on tonight. We'll announce that. The welcome comments at the May meeting for the budget. And then pending that outcome, we will plan to vote on this in the June budget or the June board meeting for adoption for July. Okay. Thanks, Dan, for putting that together. Other new business?
When I signed some of the checks this month from Cox Edwards, so the checks, all of the checks in the past, it's not anything new, but there's a 30% payroll expense that goes to all labor, and then there's a 20% P&O attached to the bottom of the bill. So I called, and the girl I spoke with said that the expense covers basically all overhead related to labor, so insurance, workman's comp, anything related to labor, it covers that. P&O covers profit and overhead. So what, and going back to the expense, I said, well, that just sounds like regular overhead. So then when she said the other is profit and overhead, I said, well, you know, you just said that we covered overhead. So anyways, she put me through to John. So I asked John to come to the meeting, obviously he didn't come, but I really don't like the way John talked to me about it on the phone because, you know, I figured out what we're doing last year. We're doing close to $250,000 worth of business. So I feel like if I have a question on the billing, the response shouldn't be, well, I've never had to do this before. I don't understand why I have to do it now. You know, that's not what I want to hear. So I want to make everybody aware of that because I have to sign my name to this. So, I mean, we're still paying it, but I'm not positive on what this is. So hopefully he can be at the next meeting.
Have you got a bill with you out there?
I got all of them.
Just throw me one just to look at.
Pass a few down so we can each see how it reads.
So explain to me again what you just said.
So
Hold on, let me pass them down.
So if you take any bill that has labor, so this is a bill from Scott, so let's do one that's Scott.
What is the money?
I said to take any bill. So here's sub one, sub two, labor one, three man crew, four man crew, overtime. So on top of that, there's a 30% payroll expense. So on top of all this, 30% is added. And here at the bottom, 20%, which stands for profit and overhead, is added.
There and there.
So this means what, that quantity 111, what does that mean? Does that mean hours or
Yeah, that's-
time?
So that's gonna be an hour and a half, that's gonna be a half hour.
What's the 30% of that subtotal?
30% of general labor.
So one of the other questions is, like, here's a half hour, but it's overtime. So I don't know if that's because it was done at night. I mean, it shouldn't have been because this would have been a planned repair. But, you know, there's not 40 hours of labor here. There's less than 2. So why are we paying overtime and payroll expense?
So we're paying the extra 30% and the extra 20%.
Yeah, I don't understand it, but I want everybody to know I have to sign my name to this, to pay them. So I don't want somebody to come to me and say, hey, I don't know why you signed this. The other thing I want to ask, so pretty much every bill has an excavator charge and a tilt bed trailer. So I know the project at End of Providence Church Road, there was a tilt bed trailer and an excavator there, but it was never used. We billed for it, so I don't know if that just shows up at the job site and we're charged for it no matter what.
So
You said
right-
you called John and asked them about this?
Yeah, I didn't get a clear answer. It was more of a, it's always been this way, take it or leave it.
So
We
that
don't know, like
30%
unit number
payroll
1 and
is-
unit number 6 and unit number 7 represent.
Now, I'm assuming they're fire trucks. I have no idea.
Yeah, they could be crew cabs and things like that, a foreman truck. That's what they're, the number, what they're called out is unit 7 or unit 6 or something like that.
So plus 30% right there, that's, we're paying the extra $62 for that. Is that right?
That's what it looks like.
It's all these numbers right here added up, plus, and 30% of the sum of these numbers is that.
So we're paying the extra 62 and then,
On top of that, 20% off of,
That's
on top of the total.
As far as
the
I
total.
can tell.
but my question is, that 6213 is the 30%.
Is that being added to this?
And 115 is 20%, right?
Yeah, you're getting, the 20% is on that 575.10.
So just this bill alone, we paid an extra $177.15 that we don't know what's for.
Correct. Well, payroll expense is basically, instead of saying my labor charge is $60 an hour, it's like saying my labor charge is $60 an hour, but when you get the bill, there's gonna be a 30% payroll expense tacked onto it. But you're gonna have to call me and ask me what it is. Ask me what it is. It's my gas, my time, my effort, sweat, blood, tears. I don't know.
You don't know what it is.
Yeah, he's got his liability, workers' comp liability, we pay hospitalization that goes into how we bill people.
So
The
insurance,
FICA, the 7.625, whatever, those numbers, there's a whole row of numbers that go in. All those numbers are gathered, and 15-20% is typically tagged on to the end with the Wayne Water District or wherever. On pipe, wherever they're working for, is when they put in there.
so that wouldn't fall up under the 30% payroll expense for your insurance and stuff?
But I know they use that number because it covers that, the medical insurance, the liability, the workers' comp and
Bonded, insured, I'm sure
Yeah,
all that,
and
so,
all things like, the lights in your house, I mean, everything that to run a business, basically, all the fees,
okay, so I hear what you're saying, and we'll say that that's under 30%. So what is the 20% P and O?
Profit over, yeah, that's typically, they'll do something, they'll charge us 20% of, profit, basically is what it is.
They who?
The company is 20%, the company puts on profit on the jobs that they do by the hour.
But they're already making a profit because they're charging you per hour, right?
Well, and the hourly charge is the salary plus all those other expenses that you have, workers' comp,
But that's in the payroll.
medical, it's all in that. But I could probably get a little bit better explanation if I.
I'd rather it not be me. Just for the way he talks to me on the phone, I don't see him in person.
Probably John, Sandra could probably tell you a whole lot better.
Sandy's the one who referred me.
Oh, did she? She probably knows, but she does payroll every single week, and I do it the 1 or 2 times that she's going on vacation during the year, but it's a whole long sheet of stuff that goes into a job that's being charged. The state withholdings and all the other stuff that's all in there that's charged from one end to the other.
I don't want to put you in an awkward position, but
Yeah, I was just trying to add something that could help, but it may not be helping at all, but anyway, I was just trying to
I understand what you're saying.
apologize for that.
When we do, $250,000, I don't want to hear, why do I need, I want to say,
Yeah.
yeah, I'll be here at the meeting, which is what I expected. I didn't get it.
So I apologize for that.
But I mean, that's not you.
He asked me if I could speak some to it,
I'm sure you
but I don't know. I'm just trying to tell you what I can tell you.
Right, well, no.
Well, I mean, I think the big thing, I mean, I can't speak, Danny run a business of a different, but everybody I dealt with business, I mean, I don't get charged out for the taxes that they're paying on their employee. I mean, I don't know what they pay their employees, but typically, like, I guess John Deere, we use for an example, I mean, their labor rate's $100 an hour, but their mechanics don't make, that probably the highest one makes $30 an hour. So it's the overhead, the tools, all that stuff is charged in that hourly rate that I pay. Now, we do pay mileage, but we don't necessarily pay for the fact that he has a generator or a welder or whatever on his truck. But we do pay mileage. So I've just never seen a bill that had it listed out like I'm basically paying his taxes, and I mean, I guess that's what I'm gathering. That's, I mean, but there again, what I don't know is whatever, but I mean, if that's what they're playing, there's paying the person himself, then I guess I understand it.
I mean, the more I looked at it, the more questions I had, why are we paying overtime if we didn't use that worker for more than 40 hours?
Why is there a tilt bed trailer on every job?
Why is there a tilt bed trailer on every single one? And I went over these with Jeremy to get his thoughts on them, and a lot of the repairs, he said that John and Daniel, y'all could do yourselves. It's just a matter of equipment. It's not a big deal. And I don't know how much repair work y'all did before, but he made it sound like a lot of it would be simple.
I wouldn't say a lot, but there would be some we could do. There would be some where you would need like Cox and Elwood or King
Yeah,
with equipment to dig down some tap. That's something we're not, I mean, that's a 6-hour job digging down with a hand shovel,
yeah.
not something we want to tackle.
I mean, we've made a big dent in buying an excavator. So we're not against getting an excavator.
I think our guys, they charge after you get past 8 hours in a given day, becomes overtime, and I'm not sure why we do that. We've done that for years, I believe. I think that may be part of what's happening there.
I mean, it could be, but like this bill right here is just 5 hours, but we're paying a 4-man crew overtime just on this one.
But it's 5 hours for.
Where we're at.
Well,
They
there
had
would be
3
overtime.
hours over there and spent the last half hour had to be charged in an overtime with somebody that may just happen to be from Southern Wayne in that particular job. Could have been on Wayne Water.
So this went in on 7/23/2020. But, once again, this is something that I would like to see John here. We may not make a drop in the bucket for what y'all make, I don't know. But
Yeah,
for this amount of money, Show up.
Yes. We're worthy of asking questions.
Yeah, I didn't stutter on that.
Don't, just out of curiosity for me, how, like, these repairs being done, I'm assuming somebody here's calling in to some regard, right?
Yeah.
So how much knowledge would y'all typically have on this, not just, what's going on and what needs to be done? In other words, like you said, when we're calling you in, because we need the excavator to get down there, so we just, they kind of do the whole job.
Well, I mean, on like a small, like a service line going from the main to the meter. You know, the closer you get to that main, the deeper it's gonna get, you know, and it can go 4 foot, 6 foot, 8 foot, it just depends. And some of it we can do, I don't mind digging out 3 or 4 foot. I mean, but when you get close to that main, you're gonna need a mini X or something of that nature, some equipment.
Now, I guess what I'm asking more reference to is somebody just to kind of peek at the bill for that job and say, that makes sense, more than just Thomas gets this, because there's no way Thomas is supposed to know, when he sees this bill and signs.
I mean, honestly, I don't know nothing about the bill. I don't know what it costed. I have no earthly idea. I've never done that before. I mean, you talking
So
about.
would you know
repairs, I
that
mean,
you had
like-
to use an excavator or not? Kind of thing.
Or
Jeremy said a lot of the bills that have just clamps, there's not many parts. A lot of those are small things that we can do ourselves in 30 minutes. Save the districts.
Something like that, I don't mind doing that. Yeah, I can do that.
That won't take long at all. It's a more case by case scenario, what the road, how long the pipe is.
I don't expect you to dig 5 foot in the ground around here.
I got you.
I got rocks over on my place, you won't dig through
You
them.
know, see, you know.
You know,
Okay.
So,
I mean,
that's not, my point isn't that you get you a fresh shovel in your truck and go to work, is more as being able to possibly look at the situation there, whether it be whatever, and say, okay, yeah, they do have to use
oh yeah,
excavator.
we could differentiate. Yeah, I have that. Yes, yes.
Well, would it be in our best interest depending on how much we're paying here, we know that we can fix it on our own on the smaller jobs. Would it be in our best interest to invest in a small?
Then you're
excavator?
looking at crazy insurance for that, for the people using that. Would I maybe do more damage than good getting something? I mean, I don't, I've never run. I have, but I'm not as comfortable as someone that is trained on a excavator
Or backhoe,
or backhoe
one of those scoopers?
excavator.
You can buy them at Walmart.
What can you
I'm
do
sure my
like this?
nephew had one, yeah. No, I mean, I think at a minimum, we should start by you all fixing the ones that you can get to with a shovel within a work day. Not a work day, but within a reasonable amount,
Right.
a couple feet down, whatever, and clamping it if y'all are comfortable with that. And it sounds like, Jeremy's run that by me, and it sounds like it's something he could show you how to do, and y'all may have done it before.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, so.
And you're familiar in that?
It's been about 10 years, but yeah. I was like riding a bike with most of it. Like I said, you have case by case scenario.
There's a couple benefits to that. And a couple reasons to do that now, in my opinion, is we have more field staff capabilities now. So we can devote a little more time to doing that. And it also allows that to be repaired and the customer to get back online sooner.
Right.
Because usually, if you all see it, more than likely somebody's going to jump right on it and go ahead and fix it. They're not going to have to call and wait for somebody to be able to come out. I know we've had, sometimes if somebody's not available, we have to call somebody else, try to get them, and that's a game of cat and mouse. So that's my opinion. At a minimum, we should be doing that.
That's something worth discussing at the special meeting. If
I don't know.
If you want Jeremy here anyways, that would be a good time to discuss it.
I don't know.
Topic.
How much more do you want to discuss that? Other than saying, start doing that. I think that's just a consensus thing. It's not.
General consensus, just kind of get the basic clamps and needs, and with Jeremy You know, you can touch base with Jeremy and just say, hey, I put in a motion to start getting what we need here, just any training that needs to be done.
Work with the three of them and Dana to help with the ordering and them to know what tools are, what the equipment needs to do it. But that's the consensus of the board,
But
though.
if you are gonna do it, you're gonna have to have it in stock.
Yeah.
Can't Amazon that in.
Is that the consensus of the board? Clear, put that in the motion?
I would say, yeah.
At least try it out.
I'll talk with Jeremy and let him know that, let him coordinate with you all. Anything else on this? No. Just other new business?
I think we need a light out here because it is real dark
Where?
outside, like the front area. I mean, over here is well lit and all
Like a
that.
floodlight?
Something because it is super dark out there.
Don't have anything out there.
Is there a power pole?
There was a little light at one time on that flagpole, but I don't know if it's been kept
Yeah.
up.
There's a power pole. I got one from Sand Hill. You know, you pay like $10 a month for that thing.
The idea if it was one of the road. Basically.
Right.
Check into that thing and give Duke Energy.
I'll do the power on.
Oh, it's not one that you have to do?
You have to already have a pole somewhere. I mean, you're not gonna put your pole out there.
Well, they would,
Put a pole?
right? They just, they'll run a pole, put a knock light out.
It costs
You
you.
might have to pay.
Is this too right?
It's food for Tri-County County.
Here is Tri-County.
Oh, okay. I'll try.
So. Yeah, right, call Bob for the.
You wanna do that first?
I'll call Bob.
Do anyone in the back?
Got a pole back.
Uh,
I look at him. He was over here to start to set poles for us, but I know Bob well enough that I can get in the poles.
the backwash. One on the shed. There's two right here. And it's not super bright, but
we can put one on that pole right there. So that's about it.
yeah.
I mean, it'd be good for the cameras.
I just know how awful dark it is out there.
And there used to be something on that flagpole. Have you noticed anything?
I
There used to be
remember
a light.
There used to be a lot of there, maybe burn out. I don't know where it shined, if it was just on the flag or what.
The light too put up for Sand Hill, the cameras on Mama's house, they never switch to night vision, they stay until 24/7.
Okay.
And it's $10 a month.
See what you can find out here. Other new business. Yeah. Who wants to come slide?
So
I would like to call a quick executive session. if that's possible. I want to keep y'all on.
Okay. Who do you want? Just the board?
Just the board.
All right. Motion to go into executive session. I hear second.
Second.
Okay, we are in executive session.
Thank you.